Welcome back, happy people, to another wonderful micro lecture. This time, the micro lecture is covering East Asia. So, for this micro lecture, we are going to cover contemporary geographic issues, and we will begin by exploring China, a new world power. So, China has the potential to become a major world power alongside Japan. China has an open door policy, and this open door policy is one in which they agree to trade with Western countries. And this policy, this agreement to trade with Western countries, despite China being a communist country and the Western countries being capitalistic countries, despite those ideological differences, this policy has allowed China to experience rapid economic growth. China also has some environmental problems that we should discuss. They have water shortage problems, they have air pollution problems, urbanization problems, as well as deforestation and a loss of biodiversity problems. So as it relates to the water shortage problem, 2/3 of China's 669 cities suffer from water shortages. More than 40% of the rivers are severely polluted. Over 300 million people in rural areas lack sufficient drinking water. And this is bad because China is one of 13 countries in the world that has the most limited water resources, yet they are a country that also has one of the world's largest populations. As it relates to air pollution in China, China contributes around 28% of global carbon dioxide emissions. They are one of the world's biggest emitters of carbon dioxide. So China, one of the world's / the largest emitter of carbon dioxide in the world. The reason that China is a large emitter of carbon dioxide is that they are the largest consumer of coal, COAL. They are the largest consumer of coal, and that is their biggest contributor to their high carbon dioxide emissions. China is also a large manufacturing sector, and they have a growing number of vehicles. Because of China's large population, because of rapid industrialization, because of reliance on coal and other fossil fuels, they're going to have lots of environmental problems. So we've already talked about this idea of air pollution associated with China's environmental problems. Their air pollution is one of the most severe in the world. Major cities like Beijing and Shanghai, they often experience hazardous levels of pollution in the air pollution in the air. That's going to pose serious risk to health, like respiratory diseases, cardiovascular issues, as well as premature death. We talked about that water problem. There's lots of contaminated water sources that are going to impact public health as well as agriculture. Oftentimes you'll have factories discharge untreated wastewater into the rivers. Pesticides and fertilizers so there's something called agricultural runoff. And agricultural runoff is when we have pesticides and fertilizers that we use for farming, they seep into the water bodies. That's bad. And as you can see on your screen, China is the world's largest consumer of fertilizers, as well as the world's largest consumer of pesticides. So they are the largest consumer of fertilizers because they have a gigantic population. Their consumption of fertilizer is driven by a large agricultural sector. That large agricultural sector is needed to feed their huge population. Chinese agriculture typically utilizes intensive agricultural methods, which means that the farmers are going to use high amounts of synthetic fertilizers to maximize their yield or their growth, their crop. They're trying to maximize that crop yield on a limited amount of land. So they use synthetic fertilizers to do that. And then we've said that China is also the largest consumer of pesticides. And again, both of these are directly correlated to the fact that they have a very large agricultural sector. So the largest consumer of fertilizer, largest consumer of pesticides, both are tied to their very large China's very large agricultural sector. So China is the largest consumer of pesticides in the world because they have a massive agricultural base. And then on top of that, they're growing a wide variety of crops. So wheat, corn, vegetables, rice, and in an effort to protect those crops from pest and disease, they're utilizing these pesticides. Because of their large population, China's domestic food demand is going to kind of drive that need for increased agricultural productivity so they can feed their populations. In an effort to increase agricultural productivity, the Chinese are using fertilizer to yield higher growth, as well as pesticides to stop the spread of disease and pest on those crops. The United States. So China's relatively small, right? Like, not relatively small in the sense of, well, I shouldn't have said that. That was bad. So not relatively small, but they are definitely the highest. I've been filming too long. I also filmed South Asia today. So there's that. China is the world's largest emitter of fertilizers and pesticides. And what I was going to tell you is that the United States, which is small comparatively to China land-wise, the United States is the second largest consumer of pesticides in the world. India uses a good amount of pesticides as well. All right, let's talk about Tokyo. So Tokyo is the capital city of Japan. It is also the heart of the country's economy. It's one of the world's 4 top global cities. So Tokyo, New York City, London, Paris, all of those are spoken of in the same vein, those top 4 global cities in the world. Tokyo, despite the fact that it is important to the international business community, when it comes to their cultural preservation, they are very much so Japanese. Tokyo has one of the world's largest metropolitan economies in the world. They are a major global financial hub, like second only to New York City. So they are the second largest metropolitan economy in the world. They fall second to New York City. New York City. Tokyo is known for their financial hub center. They have a Tokyo Stock Exchange, like this, one of the largest stock market exchanges associated with capitalization. They are known for technology and innovation. So when you think Japanese Tokyo companies, you should think Sony, Panasonic, Toshiba, Nintendo. They all have headquarters in or around Tokyo. Tokyo is also going to be a center for robotics, artificial intelligence, and electronics. When it comes to manufacturing and industry, Tokyo is a leader here as well because they are a highly industrialized, Japan has a highly industrialized economy. So manufacturing, Toyota, Honda, as well as Mitsubishi are going to have major production facilities in Tokyo and the surrounding area. Cool. All right, let's talk about Seoul. Hey, go back to Tokyo real fast. It's interesting to look at their aging population, AGING, because their population is going to see economic challenges. There's going to be there are labor shortages as well as increased health care that are going to come with this growing, aging population. So in order to kind of meet that demand, because we are losing our laborers because they are aging out, we're going to see Japan make strides in robotics as well as automation to deal with those issues of their aging population. All right, let's talk about Seoul, South Korea. So Seoul is the capital of South Korea. It's one of the world's largest and most dynamic metropolitan economies. They play a central role in South Korea's economic success, and they are a major player in the global economy. Most of the South Korean major industry is going to be housed in Seoul. So think leading tech companies like Samsung, LG. Seoul is also often referred to as the Silicon Valley of Asia. So lots of startups are happening here. Hyundai Motor, when it comes to manufacturing, Hyundai Motor, Kia, those are also going to be manufacturers that are in Seoul. Semiconductors. If you watch any amount of K-drama, I can't think of what the one was, but there's one where they talk about the importance of semiconductors, and this girl was leading Eve. That's the name of it. It's called Eve, and it's on Viki and it's on Netflix. And in Eve, her dad was responsible for producing these semiconductors. South Korea, even today, is one of the world's largest producers of semiconductors. And Seoul is at the heart of that industry. So when you think Samsung Electronics, you should think semiconductors in Seoul. They also have a thriving financial center, a main stock exchange of the Korea Exchange. And you can't forget K-pop. I just mentioned K-pop when I talked about Eve, which is a K-drama on Netflix. K-dramas are my favorite, people. My favorite K-drama of all time is probably Flower of Evil. And from there, I don't know. Flower of Evil, Mouse was really good. Like, all of them are really good. Like, they're just really good. Like, I love K-drama. And this shows us the influence of Korean culture in all other cultures. K-pop, K-drama. Remember, like, a few years ago, we had, like, Psy. Not a few years ago. You may not have been alive when Psy was out. Hey, Gangnam Style. Yeah. Like, learn some Korean words. Annyeonghaseyo. That's hello. Chugale means do you want to die? What else? Saranghae. Saranghae means I love you, people. Love you. We? That means like what? Bo? We means why. Bo means what. Yeah. K-drama, K-pop shows us the influence, the international influence of Korean culture on the rest of the world. Let's talk about Hong Kong. Hong Kong used to be a British territory. And in 1997, so like from 1842 until 1997, Hong Kong was a British territory. And then they gave it back to China in 1997. Hong Kong used to be the world's busiest port. Shanghai has since taken that honor, but it was a very busy port prior to Shanghai taking that honor in 2024. They utilized the Hong Kong dollar, while Shanghai and mainland China utilize the Chinese yuan. That is Hong Kong. And then you've got Beijing in 15 seconds. Beijing is the capital city of China. They are associated with extreme amounts of air pollution. This is the conclusion. I'll see you.